Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your source for getting up to speed quickly on the critical developments really impacting your world.
That's right.
Today, we're really digging into the rapid shifts in business, tech, economics. Everything from global trade policies affecting your daily spend.
All the way to AI fundamentally reshaping, well, our online lives.
Exactly. We've gathered a whole stack of sources you've shared, and our job really is to pull out the clearest, most vital insights to help you get truly well informed.
Yeah, because in this age of just constant information, it's so easy to get lost, right? Just scrolling headlines.
Totally.
Our goal is to connect those dots,
Mhm.
the seemingly separate news items show the bigger picture, and hopefully uncover some surprising nuggets that help you stay ahead, but without the overwhelm.
Understand not just what's happening, but why it actually matters to you.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've set the scene, how fast things are changing, and maybe no area shows this kind of economic tug-of-war better than the whole debate around tariffs.
Uh,
So let's dive into that first. The inflationary tug-of-war, tariffs and your wallet. Let's see how global policy is hitting your grocery bill.
Yeah, this is a really hot topic, and our sources basically lay out two very different sides.
Okay.
So on one hand, you've got the administration's view. They're saying tariffs are generating massive amounts of cash for the Treasury.
Right.
And crucially, that they are not causing inflation. A Treasury counselor, Joe Livornia, backs this up. He claims foreign exporters are actually absorbing most of these costs.
Absorbing the cost. So does that mean, like, they're just taking lower profits or finding savings somewhere else? What's the thinking there? How does that work?
Well, in their view, it's kind of a win-win. Cash comes into the Treasury,
Yeah.
and foreign companies basically eat the cost.
Okay.
So either they cut their profit margins, or maybe they find ways to produce more efficiently. The point is, they argue, the cost isn't immediately passed on to American consumers.
Got it. But there's another side to this, you said.
Oh yeah, Wall Street economists. You're talking Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, UBS, Pantheon Macroeconomics. They paint a very different picture.
And what are they saying?
They're largely predicting tariffs could actually subtract maybe 1% from GDP and add 1 to 1.5% to inflation.
Wow. Okay, so a noticeable impact according to them. And they think consumers will feel it more directly.
Absolutely. They expect consumers will end up bearing a much bigger share of these costs, potentially up to 67% by October.
67%. That's a huge jump from June, wasn't it? Like 22% then?
Exactly. A sharp increase. And the thinking is it's because those pre-tariff inventories are running out.
Ah, right. So the stuff stores bought before the tariffs hit is gone.
Yeah, that older, cheaper stock sells through. Then they have to reorder. And those new imports, they face the higher tariff costs.
Which then get passed on to us.
That's the argument. And this disagreement, this consensus from Wall Street, has led to some pretty strong pushback. Even public criticism from the president aimed at Goldman Sachs' CEO, David Solomon, specifically about their tariff inflation forecasts.
Okay, so a real clash there. Given that division, are there other official takes, like from the Fed or anyone else?
Well, it's interesting. The Kansas City Fed president, Jeffrey Schmidt,
Mm-hmm.
he views the tariff impact as muted and maybe too complex to really pin down accurately.
viewed it. Okay.
And interestingly, Stephen Mirren, who's a Trump nominee for BLS commissioner, he also believes tariffs won't really stoke inflation.
Hmm.
What's kind of fascinating is that the standard economic models seem to be struggling a bit, struggling to keep up with these, well, unusual economic forces. This lack of a clear consensus isn't just academic.
Right.
It creates real uncertainty for businesses trying to plan, for policymakers.
Hmm.
It just highlights how complex global trade has become, especially now.
That complexity really brings it home. So, okay, that's the big picture debate. But what does this actually mean for your grocery bill? For the listener right now, how are tariffs hitting daily purchases?
Yeah, this is where it gets very real. Our sources give some solid examples, like coffee prices. They surged 14.5% year over year in July.
14.5%.
Yeah, hitting an average of $8.41 per pound. And small businesses, like Bethany's Coffee Shop mentioned in Nebraska, they're really feeling the squeeze.
How bad is it for them?
They're facing 18% to 25% price increases, not just on coffee, but on things like avocados, tomatoes.
Wow.
They've actually added a 3% fee just to cover costs because prices are changing so fast, they can't even keep up with reprinting menus.
That's incredible. Just trying to tread water. Are we seeing this across the board, or is it mainly certain types of goods?
It seems pretty broad, especially in food. Nearly 74%, that's about $163 billion of U.S. food imports are facing tariffs.
74%.
Yeah, so it affects spices, teas, There's a huge 50% tariff on tea from India, for instance.
50%?
I know, and there are worries this could even limit, the year-round availability of some fruits and vegetables.
Okay, so beyond food.
Oh, yeah. Other tariff-exposed goods saw price jumps in July, too. Footwear was up 1.4%. Outdoor equipment jumped 2.2%. Furniture and bedding up 0.9%. Tools, hardware, supplies up 1.2%. Windows, floor coverings, linens also up 1.2%. It's definitely making people think twice about spending.
How so? What's the wider effect on how people are spending?
Well, we're seeing a clear slowdown in some areas. Think fast casual restaurants like Chipotle, Cava, Sweetgreen.
Right.
Executives there are saying diners are being cautious. There's this economic fog they mentioned that's weighing on spending decisions. Chipotle's CEO even specifically pointed to lower-income consumers pulling back as a reason for their sales taking a hit.
Saying people are drifting towards value, basically.
Exactly, looking for lower price points.
So for you listening, what can you actually do about these rising costs? Is there any practical advice to help people stretch their budgets a bit?
Yeah, definitely. Stu Leonard Jr. from Stu Leonard's Grocery Stores are very focused on this. He offered some good tips.
Okay, like what?
He suggests buying things like steak when it's on sale and just freezing it. Stretch the savings out.
Makes sense.
Also, using digital coupons through Spore apps. Lots of stores offer special deals just for app users now.
Good point.
Another smart move. Opt for the cheaper store brands instead of the big national names. Retailers are seeing way more demand for their own private labels lately.
Right, the store brands have gotten much better, too.
They really have. And finally, a simple one. Do it yourself. Cut your own fruits and vegetables instead of buying the pre-cut stuff, which always costs more.
Little things that can add up. Okay, those are practical steps for navigating the tariff impact.
Yeah.
But talking about forces reshaping the economy, nothing seems bigger right now than artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
So let's shift gears. Let's talk the AI revolution. Explore its huge impact both as a growth engine and, well, a disruptor.
Yeah, it's really hard to overstate the financial power here. And just the sheer amount of money pouring into AI.
Right.
Our sources really highlight this. Take Meta, for example, their blockbuster earnings.
Yeah.
Largely down to AI improving their main advertising business. And they're investing hundreds of billions, with a B, into AI infrastructure.
Hundreds of billions. That's staggering.
It is. Cisco's reporting an AI infrastructure sales pipeline in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
They're clear. AI is not some fleeting trend.
No kidding.
Look at CoreWeave. They rent out AI data center capacity.
Yeah.
Their revenue tripled year over year. Demand is just outweighing supply. They're signing huge expansion deals with the big cloud players, the hyperscalers like OpenAI, Microsoft, NVIDIA.
Okay, massive growth, massive investment. But what about the people? How is all this AI spending affecting the workforce?
It's having a really profound impact, creating efficiencies, but also definite shifts.
Okay.
Microsoft, for instance, is saving hundreds of millions a year using AI for support functions. Less need for human interaction there.
Right.
PayPal's PayPal Assistant is doing something similar, cutting down on customer service calls.
So efficiency.
Yeah.
But that means jobs.
Well, it leads to what they call headcount rationalization, basically reducing staff in certain areas. Some software companies are slowing hiring or even cutting jobs, particularly hitting entry-level roles or jobs involving manual tasks that AI can now do.
So younger tech workers might be feeling this.
Yeah, there's rising unemployment among some young tech workers whose skills kind of overlap with what these AI models can handle.
So that's software and support roles. What about physical jobs? Shipping, logistics?
We see it there too. UPS has stated a goal to become less reliant on labor through automation, through robotics,
Less reliant on labor.
and Amazon. They already use over 1 million robots in their warehouses. They say it improves cost efficiency, speeds up deliveries.
And makes things safer for humans, they often add.
They do frame it that way too. But yeah, the drive for reducing labor costs is definitely part of it. So the overall picture is really complex. AI is driving efficiency, yes, but it's also fueling a new hiring cycle in what they call high-impact areas.
So jobs shifting rather than just disappearing entirely.
Exactly. It seems more like a shifting job market, with a new focus on roles that either use AI or help develop it.
Okay, so AI is clearly changing the job market. But how is it reshaping whole industries? Or even just your personal experience online? Are there bigger shifts happening?
Oh, definitely. Look at the search engine world. That's a huge example right now.
What's happening there?
Perplexity, which is an AI search company, made an unsolicited bid, $34.5 billion for Google's Chrome browser.
$34 billion for Chrome.
Yeah, And this comes just as Google is facing that antitrust ruling where the Justice Department actually proposed they sell Chrome.
Wow, the timing.
Right. So Perplexity, which is already valued at like $18 billion itself, is clearly making a play to disrupt how we all get information online. They even just launched their own AI-powered browser called Comet.
And isn't OpenAI supposedly building one too?
Reportedly, yes. So this move by Perplexity isn't just about a browser war. It signals a deeper shift, I think. A shift in how we trust and process information. Well, traditional search gives you links, right? You click, you read the source. AI search promises direct answers.
Ah.
So the curation of knowledge is kind of moving away from algorithms just ranking external websites towards AI models actually generating the knowledge or the answer themselves.
Which raises big questions, doesn't it, about bias, accuracy?
Exactly. Bias, accuracy, critical thinking. It's a fundamental change in information flow.
Absolutely fascinating. And what about online safety, privacy, things we all worry about on these big platforms?
Yeah, another area where AI is stepping in, with mixed results maybe. YouTube is rolling out an AI system.
Okay.
Its job is to basically guess a user's age based on what they watch, what they do on the platform,
To guess your age. Why?
to apply safety features for teenagers automatically. So if it thinks you're a teen, it applies certain restrictions.
Okay. But what if it guesses wrong?
That's the catch. If the AI incorrectly flags you as an adult when you're actually a teen, or maybe the other way around. Let's say it thinks you're not an adult, but you are. Then you have to prove your age.
How?
By providing a government ID, or a credit card, or even a selfie for verification.
Wow. ID, credit card, selfie. That feels invasive.
It definitely raises privacy concerns for users, yeah.
Yeah.
People being uncomfortable handing over that kind of personal data just to correct an AI's guess. It's this trade-off, right? Safety versus privacy. One we'll be watching closely.
We've definitely seen how these big global forces and tech breakthroughs are playing out. Let's broaden the lens now, maybe to navigating corporate and personal financial currents. How are different companies actually managing in this complex economy? Some struggling, some thriving. And how does that all filter down to your personal finances?
Yeah, it's a really stark divide sometimes. You see companies facing almost existential challenges.
Like who?
Well, consider Kodak, the 133-year-old photographer.
Kodak, right.
They were actually warning investors they might have to cease operations. They've got about $500 million in debt coming due soon.
Wow. And their whole decline was because they missed the boat on digital cameras, right? Which they invented.
Isn't that ironic? They invented it in 1975, but failed to capitalize, ended up in bankruptcy back in 2012. They had a brief, sort of strange pivot in 2020 towards making pharmaceutical ingredients.
I remember that.
But yeah, serious doubts remain about their future now.
Such a cautionary tale. And airlines seem to be hitting turbulence too, beyond the usual delays.
For sure. Look at Spirit Airlines. They just came out of bankruptcy a few months ago.
Right.
And now they're raising what's called going concern doubts.
Yeah.
Basically, questioning if they can stay in business.
Why? What's the issue?
Weak domestic demand, apparently, and their cash reserves are dwindling. They're furloughing pilots, looking at selling off planes, even real estate, just to get some cash. They're also citing uncertainty from tariffs and budget cuts, saying it's making travelers pull back on spending.
And Air Canada. Sounds like trouble brewing there, too.
Yeah, they're preparing to actually lock out their flight attendants starting August 16th.
Lock them out.
The union voted almost unanimously, 99.7%, to strike over wages and also unpaid work, like not getting paid for boarding time.
Oh, okay.
If that happens, it could mean a complete shutdown of their operations, affecting something like 130,000 customers every single day.
Huge disruption. And any other major examples of struggles?
Well, shifting continents, there's China Evergrande, the massive, heavily indebted real estate developer.
Oh, yeah, they owe hundreds of billions, right?
Over $300 billion. They're going to be delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange on August 25th. It's another major blow to China's property sector following that liquidation order they got back in January.
Okay, so definitely a tough climate for many. But what about the other side? Companies that are actually thriving or making really aggressive moves right now?
Yeah, there are definitely those two. Amazon is a big one. They are significantly expanding their same-day delivery for fresh foods.
Like groceries.
Exactly. Meat, eggs, produce. They're rolling it out to over 1,000 U.S. cities now, and they plan to reach 2,300 cities by the end of the year.
That's a huge expansion. Bet their competitors aren't thrilled.
No, it apparently hit Instacart and Walmart stocks when they announced it. It's all part of this bigger plan they have to retool their whole grocery business, including integrating Whole Foods more closely.
Interesting. Any other companies investing heavily, adapting?
Yes. GE Appliances is another example. They're putting over $3 billion into expanding their manufacturing here in the U.S.
$3 billion.
Yeah, it ties into that whole push to bring manufacturing back onshore, reshoring.
Yeah.
They're shifting production of clothes washers from China to Kentucky and gas ranges from Mexico back to Georgia.
Creating U.S. jobs, then.
Exactly. New jobs, plus they get a supply chain that's hopefully more responsive, more reliable, something a lot of companies are chasing after now, given all the global unpredictability.
Okay, we've seen how these huge companies are navigating the currents, but let's bring it right down to the individual level.
Yeah.
How do these big trends, these shifts in business and the economy, how do they actually affect your personal financial well-being, your security? Let's zoom in on that for the listener.
Yeah, let's connect those dots. So a few key areas really stand out. First, student loans. Borrowers are facing some real challenges again.
Because payments restarted, right?
Exactly. Nearly 1 in 5, that's 18% of older borrowers, people age 50 and up, became seriously delinquent in the second quarter of 2025. This is as the administration ramps up collection efforts again after that 5-year pause.
Seriously delinquent. That sounds bad.
It means they're significantly behind on payments. Now, currently, garnishing Social Security benefits is paused,
Okay.
but wage garnishments, potentially up to 15% of pay for those still working, are expected to start up again soon. It just underscores the ongoing financial stress for a lot of households.
Yeah, that's a tough spot for many. What about on the savings side? Anything people can do to maximize what they have in this environment?
While high-yield savings accounts are still a really good option, they offer much, much better returns than your typical traditional savings account.
Much better.
Well, rates are often around 4% APY, sometimes higher. Think about it. If you put $10,000 in a high-yield account earning, say, 5% APY,
Okay.
you could earn $500 in interest over a year. Compare that to a traditional account at the national average, which is like 0.45% APY. You'd earn maybe $45.
Wow, $500 versus $45, that's a huge difference.
It really is. The main thing to know is most of these are online-only banks. That's how they keep overhead low and offer those higher rates.
Good tip. Any other new opportunities maybe for saving or planning for education or careers?
Yes, actually. The recent budget bill included an expansion for 529 college savings plans.
Oh, yeah. How so?
You can now make tax-free withdrawals, not just for college, but also for vocational programs, for continuing education classes, even for licensing exam prep fees.
Oh, that's much more flexible.
Exactly. It makes those plans useful for a much wider range of career-related expenses, not just a traditional 4-year degree. It's a pretty significant update for people focused on skills and lifelong learning.
That's great info. What about digital financial security? That always feels like a moving target, with new scams popping up.
It really is. And there's a big development here. The New York Attorney General is actually suing Zell's parent company, Early Warning Services.
Suing Zelle? Why?
They're alleging that the platform enabled widespread fraud, leading to over $1 billion being stolen from users.
$1 billion? How?
The lawsuit claims it's due to, well, insufficient verification processes and the fact that transfers are basically irreversible. Once the money's sent, it's gone.
What does Zelle say?
Well, a spokesperson disputes the claims. Naturally, they state that over 99.95% of their transactions are actually fraud-free.
Okay, so two very different stories there.
Definitely. But it's a good reminder, right? Always be super careful with digital payments, no matter what platform you're using. Double-check who you're sending money to.
Absolutely. And just quickly, you mentioned one more thing, a sort of cautionary tale about financial misconduct.
Yeah, just a brief but kind of shocking one. A former executive from both Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase.
Okay, high level then.
He was just indicted. Allegedly, he gambled away about $4 million of investor money.
Gambled it away.
Apparently, yes. Money that was raised for his online casino startup. And he allegedly blew through it in about a week.
Wow. A stark reminder indeed. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. From that whole tug of war over tariffs and how it lands on your grocery receipt, to the incredible sweep of AI, changing jobs, changing how we find information,
Right.
and then looking at how companies are coping, some struggling like Kodak, others pushing hard like Amazon and GE, plus those direct impacts on your personal finances, from student loans to savings accounts to digital safety.
It really shows how interconnected everything is, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Global trade, technology, corporate moves. It all flows down and
Yeah,
directly impacts our daily lives, our financial choices.
absolutely. The connections are undeniable.
And that interconnectedness, that pace of change, it's only accelerating. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. In a world that's evolving so fast, where tariffs are redrawing supply chains, AI is redefining work and competition, and companies face these huge opportunities, but also, existential threats, how will your own personal and financial agility become your ultimate advantage in navigating this really dynamic landscape?